Corrupted Dungeons are a 1v1 PvP instance where very little builds get almost all the wins. If you wanna succeed in Corrupted Dungeons, I am afraid you gotta go with the meta. So I will show you the best builds as of right now. I will focus on lower raiding builds as the very top of the leaderboards has a very different meta that doesn't apply to most of you. All weapons work differently when you have an 8.3 gear set, and that probably will not be you. We start off with the Warbow build. Warbows are great for solo content and Corrupted Dungeons are no exception. You take a Warbow, Mage Cowl, Assassin Jacket, Soldier Boots, and a Ted4 Cape. Your abilities are Poisoned Arrow for your Q, this combos nicely with your Mage Cowl for double poison, Frost Shot for W which helps you kite better, and your E-Magic Arrow is a nice finisher move for a lot of damage if you manage to shoot it from a distance. Attack speed is pretty good for the passive, but if you cannot afford tier 6, Piercing Arrows is pretty fine. You can take Inferno Shield with your Assassin Jacket for most situations, but if you feel confident in your micro skills, Ambush for a clean one-shot is better. Soldier Boots for Rejuvenating Sprint, perhaps the most broken PvP active ever, obviously. Ted4 Cape gives extra damage to your auto attacks, and it also helps clearing the dungeon, so you're gonna be seeing this cape a lot in this video too. This build that you're seeing right here has been a staple of Corrupted Dungeons for a while now, and Warbow has always been strong due to the high damage and survivability. You can never go wrong with Warbow. This build is one of the higher spec requirements in this list, as you need level 15 Bowfighter to use it properly, but even then, man, that's like 2 tier 8 dungeons, something like that. It's not much at all. Next build in the list is Holy Staff, one of the strongest low spec builds right now, but there is a catch. If you are playing with high latency like I am, I do not recommend this build, because you gotta land many small skill shots consistently while moving, and latency will make that very hard. You take Holy Staff, Mist Collar for cooldown reduction, Guardian Helmet, Mage Robe, Soldier Boots, and a Limhurst Cape. You take Smite for your Q, this is your bread and butter. You shoot Holy Fire in a circle and a very fast cooldown. Your W is Sacred Pulse, which is not only a heal, but is also damage and a knock-up, really strong stuff. Then your E is Desperate Prayer, a big emergency heal that costs a lot of mana. Good news is though that you have your Limhurst Cape to restore mana, so abusing your E will not be a problem. Your Guardian Helmet has Emergency Shield, which will be really useful to counter openers. Your Mage Robe has a Purge that will counter many meta builds right now, like swords or daggers, while you wait out your cooldowns, and once again, Soldier Boots because Rejuvenating Sprint is broken. Your damage is decent, your disengage is super annoying, and your survivability is off the chain, and that's what makes this build so strong right now. The best part is this build doesn't need any spec. You unlock your tier 4 gear and you are done. Now an unusual build that has been taking off recently. One-handed Cursed Staff came back into the meta, this time with a normal shield of all things, and also Mage Cowl, Cleric Robe, and of course Soldier Boots. This build is a lot more defensive than previous one-handed cursed iterations, and for good reason. Your main goal is to get all your curse stacks and just stay the hell away. You got plenty of tools to achieve that. For example, your Q, you take Vile Curse for easy stacking, and then you take Desecrate as your W to keep people locked in, and then Death Curse will consume your curse stacks for a gazillion damage. Mage Cowl with the poison works as an extra burn to the enemy, while Cleric Robe makes you immune to damage, while being able to still run and cast your spells, so you can just root somebody and move away while they waste all their combos. Soldier Boots because duh, and Martlock Cape for yet another shield. Some people prefer the Bridgewatch Cape, but honestly, it is not nearly as reliable. The main reason in my opinion that this build is taking off right now is that there is a lot of one-shotty type builds in the meta, specifically the Claymore, but there's also Dagger Pairs and Bloodleathers, and this build does particularly well against those builds. You only need level 3 Warlock to unlock everything you need in this build. That's pretty much nothing, man. Now this is a more traditional build. This is the Great Frost Staff. It's not that complicated, you know, you do a big stun, then you do big damage, rinse, repeat. This one has a little special quirks though. You take Soldier Helmet for the overpowered block ability that makes you immune to damage, just like the Cleric Robe, but then you take the Assassin Jacket for a vital part of your combo. I will explain that in a second. Soldier Boots because Soldier Boots, and Limhurst Cape for energy because this build is a little bit of a gas guzzler. Your Q is Frostbite because it makes you do more damage the more you stack it. That will come important in a minute. Your W is Frost Nova for the annoying, oppressive, you don't get to play anymore stun that makes people uninstall the game and seek professional therapy. And finally your E is Hail for more damage because you like damage. Okay. The way you play this build is you fully stack your Frostbite on the target, that's 3 stacks, and as soon as you hit 3 stacks, you Frost Nova them to lock them up, and then you use Ambush from your Assassin Jacket. Now here's the hard part. You gotta time it just right, that you drop another Frostbite just before the stacks run out. Going invisible gives you an extra percentage damage the more you stay in it, so you wanna make the most out of it, but then after dropping that Frostbite, you hit them with Hail for the finisher. Here's where the magic comes in. That is a combo with 24% extra damage when you perform it correctly. If you ever wonder why do Frost Mages do so much damage in a second, this is why. You only need 15 spec on Frost Mage to unlock everything you need for this build, so even a beginner can slap those noobs. Now the meta keeps changing, so you better hit the iron while it's hot and abuse these builds, because we will have to revisit this later at some point. By the way, I borrowed some footage from other players as I do not personally play many of these builds. The original links are in the description, you may wanna look them up for more in-depth knowledge about whatever build you pick. If you like this video, please subscribe and tell me what build you took in the comments. Have a great day, homeboys!